Hello everyone, Matt here from PCGamesN and I'm joined by Rich.
Hello.
And we're talking about Total War Warhammer, as is Rich's specialist subjects by far. And basically, so we've noticed that there are two fairly common comments, right, on a Total War announcement.
Yeah.
And it's always either go back to historical settings because they don't like the pointy elf men, or where are the Skaven?
Yeah.
And we sort of figured out that the Skaven are probably coming fairly early on.
It didn't take much detective work.
Yeah,
to come
right.
to that
Rich, I'll play dumb for the moment. What's a Skaven? Tell me what they are.
Right, so the Skaven are a race of giant rats. They're one of the most distinctive races in the Warhammer IP. Everything else in Warhammer is, elves and dwarves and orcs, the sort of thing that you've seen in dozens of fantasy settings. But the Skaven are one of the relatively few, I'd say, who, Games Workshop basically cornered the market on giant humanoid rats. We almost certain that they're coming in Total War Warhammer 2 because of Creative Assembly's least subtle ever tease at the end of the reveal trailer. So everyone's known or been fairly confident that they're coming ever since the game was announced. And as you say, the historical Total War fans just want Total War to go back to history, whereas the fantasy fans seem to just want to, where are the Skaven, just reveal them and just get it over with.
So why do people want to see that? Like, we've obviously got loads of really, really cool races. We've got the Lizardmen are confirmed, the High Elves, the Dark Elves, stuff like that. These are really, really great sort of characters, but people seem to be pushing those races aside and really just want to focus on Skaven. So what is their appeal?
Well, yeah, it's an interesting question. I have to say I don't personally get it, but I've had a little bit of an exercise in empathy to try and figure out why there seems to be this clear appetite, at least among some commenters, to see the Skaven. And I think part of it is they pull off this really clever trick of being cute at the same time as genuinely horrifically evil.
Sure.
Right, if you read anything about their lore, they're actually sort of aversions to Nazi ideology. They are convinced of their own.
Wait, they're Nazi rats.
They are essentially, they're convinced of their own racial supremacy and superiority. One of their unit types is called a storm vermin, which is, thing about stormtroopers. So there is that flavour to them. They wish nothing but death on every other living thing on the planet, and yet they are rats. They squeak, and they have this sort of cute way about their one of their weapons is a giant doom wheel with a rat running around inside of it to try and drive it like a hamster wheel. There's another one called a rattling gun as opposed to a Gatling gun. The way that their dialogue is written, it's yes, kill man things, yes. And they are cute sort of chittery things. They are, so there is that unique aesthetic which is part evil and part adorable. They're also one of the very few Warhammer races that have penetrated outside of the Warhammer IP, I think. I mean, it's hard to... I mean, a Warhammer Dwarf is distinct, a Warhammer Elf is distinct, but they are still just sort of spins on a theme. Whereas, the Warhammer Skaven, they are recognisable more and more as a uniquely Warhammer property. Vermintide, of course, is a big factor in that. That was a great game that's been sort of quietly generating positive word of mouth and a cult following for almost 2 years now. The Skaven also got a big push in the Warhammer setting, as Games Workshop gave them a leading role in the End Times event, which destroyed the game's 8th edition, much to my consternation and consternation of many other Warhammer fantasy fans. So yeah, I think there is this awareness more and more of the Skaven outside of Warhammer, and maybe that's why CA chose them as the race to tease.
So where do you think that they will sit into sort of like the Total War Warhammer 2 kind of universe and lore? What are they going to offer us, in difference to the other races? Obviously, they're all unique in their own way.
Yeah.
What's going to be the benefit, do you predict, about playing Skaven?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Skaven should offer a bunch of really unique sort of play styles or ways to approach playing their race. Their big thing is that they are the ultimate horde army, right? Right now you've got undead and vampire counts with loads of zombies and skeletons, but the Skaven similarly have loads and loads of core infantry. They are the verminous tide is one of the synonyms for their race. Loads and loads and loads of core infantry which are really, really weak and fragile, but they make up for it in numbers. And in the tabletop game, the numbers are how they overcome their natural cowardice and frailty, right? The more of them, the more ranks you have of them in the tabletop game, the higher their leadership gets, so they're harder to break. That mechanic could be quite easily transposed into Total War. So the more Skaven reinforcing units you have around, or the higher units numbers are relative to where they started, might be harder to break that way. That would be an interesting approach to their playstyle. But their core is supported by some nasty inventions cooked up by the Skaven clans.
Right.
We could talk a lot about, you know, the warp lightning cannons and the rattling guns of Clan Skryre and everything, but just a few more examples. Clan Moulder are biological engineers. They lean into the nastier elements of the Skaven race. They sort of take things and mix them with other things, with warp stone and chaos magic and things. So like they're Frankenstein engineers, basically. Rat ogres are an invention of Clan Moulder,
who are great in because there's a Vermintide have got those. They're the equivalent of the tank, right?
Yeah. They're quite frightening. But the big thing for the Clan Moulder cooked up is the Hell Pit Abomination. Expect this to be their tier 5 monster unit. It's basically a giant lump of flesh with fists attached and acidic blood.
Yeah, that'll do it, right?
Yeah, that'll do it. And then Clan Pestilens, I want to talk about Clan Pestilens a little bit. These guys are, they reflect the essential purpose of the Skaven, which is spreading disease and spreading plague. You might say they are one of the truest of the Skaven clans to the Skaven identity. So they cook up horrible diseases and they tunnel under cities to spread them. They are responsible for Warhammer's version of the Black Death. And on the tunneling point, the Skaven Under-Empire is what the Skaven Dominion is called. It's basically a network of tunnels that literally spans the world. Most of their cities are below ground. So it'll be really interesting to see how that affects their strategic mechanics. I would have thought that access to the underway, which the greenskins and the dwarves can have, that's probably a given. But if Skier want to be really true to Skaven lore, I would have thought that the tunneling mechanic would have been extended a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens. But Clan Pestilens, they're also notable because they conquered pretty much all of the Southlands, which we know is one of the 4 continents that we're going to in the new game. So the fact that the Southlands are included leads me to guess that it'll be a Pestilens. One of the Skaven legendary lords will be a Pestilens lord, maybe Lord Skrolk, and his campaign and start position might start you off in the Southlands. So that'll be interesting to see. And then the last sort of note to mention about the Skaven race is politics. They are one of the most internally divided of all of Warhammer races, alongside right up there with the greenskins when it comes to infighting. And indeed, that's often given as the only reason that they haven't taken over the world. It's like they hate each other almost as much as they hate the rest of us. So uniting the Skaven clans should be a really interesting challenge in diplomacy. Yeah,
so definitely some great kind of rat-on-rat civil war sort of action to be
absolutely.
had. So that's everything that we know about Skaven and our predictions for what they will be up to in Total War Warhammer 2. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a like. The more likes we get, the more we can get Rich on, jabbering on about really, really cool Warhammer races and talking about the different clans. If you have anything that you've got ideas for what the Skaven might be, maybe there's a mechanic you'll think that sort of like CA are definitely going to be putting in the game, why not let us know in the comments. Give us a subscribe, there's plenty more videos like this, and until next time, good luck and have fun.
Take care.